Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 113th episode. 2.5 years on the air and going strong. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now streaming 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. And of course, you can always find us on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. We have such a great show lined up for you today. Very exciting stuff. In our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Dominari Financial, today we're featuring Laura Miketesh. She goes by the Iron Giantess. She's here to chat career, health, and life after extreme weight loss. Of course, she here herself is going to talk to us about all the ups and downs life has thrown her way, and of course, how her mindset has also kept her winning. In the entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment, today we're featuring William and Christian DeMeo, a father-son Hollywood duo. William is the creator, producer, and director of Amazon Prime's series Gravesend. It's a 1980s era mafia drama. They're here to chat Season 2, what we can expect, and of course, the fascination with mafia in American pop culture. In our influencer segment brought to you by Navi Travel, we're featuring Blaise French, an actor, influencer, and entrepreneur with over 3.5 million followers and counting. He's here to chat marketing, branding, investments, and now he has been part of the Body Armor Coca-Cola deal for $5.6 billion and what life is like after his big score. In our disability awareness segment brought to you by OGPay.com, today we're featuring Dave Stevens, the only legless player in sports history to have played NCAA football and minor league baseball. In fact, Dave is a 7-time Emmy-winning sports journalist and motivational speaker. As a television host, he nears over 40 years in broadcasting, 20 of which were with ESPN. Today, he's chatting disability awareness, overcoming obstacles, and how your mindset is your most powerful tool. Stay tuned for our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Dominari Financial, featuring the Iron Giantess chatting career, health, and life after extreme weight loss. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming on in just a few in our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Dominari Financial. Today we're featuring Laura Miketesh. She goes by the Iron Giantess all over social media. She's a certified transformation specialist and life coach. Now, after struggling with obesity most of her life and going from over 340 pounds to athlete and wellness coach, Laura now helps others remove their blocks standing in their way to live their greatest life. As a nutritionist, bodybuilding trainer, glute specialist, she has helped hundreds of people create the life that they love. She's here today to chat career, health, and life after extreme weight loss. Welcoming now to the show is the Iron Giantess herself. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hello. Thanks for having me back on.
Thanks for coming on. Wow, what a journey you have been through. Some road, my darling, some road.
Yeah, I felt like the big transformation was years ago, and over the last few years, it feels like the transformation is now. So,
Is now, yes. So let's start when you were a child. Now, as a child, you were given the nickname Iron Giantess, being taller and bigger than all your peers. And of course, your low self confidence as a result of this manifested into binge eating, leading you to weigh approximately, 320 pounds or even more at your heaviest. When did you decide to make a change, and what was your motivation?
well, growing up, I hadn't really put it together that binge eating had been my source of safety. It had been how I self soothed and how I managed anxiety. And I went all through middle school, high school, college, feeling sort of like I just didn't fit in, like I was built different than everyone else. And at the end of college, I got my first major heartbreak. I was in a space where I had given up a career that I had been dreaming about to try to make this relationship work. And I was in a total state of flux. There was no structure. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And I realized in that moment, I just wasn't happy. And I was writing my own story. And that's what I always kept going back to, that I was writing my own story. I ended up going to get my teaching degree because I'm really passionate about the way that we're educating children, how we're raising them up. But I also knew that with me not only not being happy, but also not really trusting myself because of the binge eating and the issues that I had, I wasn't going to be the best educator that I could be. And I also just wasn't going to be the best version of myself. So I just, for the first time in my life, because I had struggled with my weight a million times in the past and done crazy diets and weight loss camps and trainers, but I had always gone to extremes. And this was the first time that I just put one foot in front of the other. And it wasn't about losing weight. It was about learning to trust myself and show up every day, regardless of circumstance, regardless of success, whether I was a model or I was 310 pounds instead of 320. I just put one foot in front of the other, and it changed my life and the way that I relate to everything in my life, not just fitness and health.
You are incredible. Now, of course, hardship, when we talk about hardship, is something that you are familiar with. There's lots of loss in your life, lots of struggle. You've confronted your demons. You've changed your lifestyle. You've gained back control of your life, surely. What advice do you have to anyone listening and thinking to themselves that they just can't possibly take control of their situation? They feel stuck and alone. What do you want to say to them?
Well, I have two major notes on that. Number one, most of the people that are struggling with their health, their weight, things like that, are incredibly successful in so many other areas of their life. They're an amazing parent, they're an amazing friend, they go above and beyond for people. And typically, we see that people pleaser sort of mentality in this space. You give everything to everyone else, but you probably are a superstar at your job. You are probably a superstar in your relationship with your family, with your friends. You are the caretaker, you are competent, you are incredible, you are inspirational, you are disciplined. That is not a characteristic that you lack in this space. This is probably the space that you feel like you're struggling to conquer. But if you looked at your life overall, you have every single tool in place to succeed at this. And this is the easiest space to succeed because the only thing stopping you is yourself. In the rest of the world, there's a bunch of factors, but in this one, it's one foot in front of the other. It is, can I show up every day and keep going? And if you show up to work every day and you put your best foot forward, and you show up in your relationship every day and you put your best foot forward, and you show up for your kids every day and you put your best foot forward, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
Fighting yourself. And the other thing I would say is I spent my life using this as a tool to protect myself and cope. And so many people do, even if they haven't confronted it. There's a lot of trauma around our bodies and weight, keeping us safe and keeping us unseen and keeping us protected. So do that work, go back, look at your nervous system and see how you're regulating and see how you're coping, because usually it's tied to this.
That's some great advice. Great advice. Now let's shift to obesity. So the numbers are staggering. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 2 out of every 5 adult Americans are obese. And furthermore, obesity increases, as we know, the risk of getting over, 13 to 20 different cancers, including breast, pancreas, thyroid, liver cancer, all, of course, linked to obesity. What should people be cutting out of their diet, even as a simple guideline?
Well, your body is not your enemy. Your body is fighting for you and sending you signals to protect you. So the first thing that I usually advise people cut out is a sedentary lifestyle. If you are not moving and you are not walking and you are not, and I'm not talking go to the gym and become a power lifter. I'm not talking join an Olympic team. I'm talking about cutting out the need to come home from a hard day of work and sit your ass on the couch and eat food and not cope with whatever's going on, because it's all tied to that. It's all tied to the way that we're numbing out the rest of the world. So if you're sedentary, cut that out first. And then there are so many debates around what we shouldn't have in our diet, what we should. I've now leaned more towards a clean lifestyle because I'm really listening to my body about the signals that it's sending and what it wants, but I'm also allowing my body to, if it really wants a cheeseburger today, because that is where we're at emotionally and that would feel good and it comes from a good place and love, go for it. But most of the time, a ton of water, a little bit of movement, and some healthier choices around your food that don't come from just shutting the world out are going to change your life. And the other thing I would cut out is the all or nothing mentality that we have. The all or nothing, I need to be snapping my fingers and done with this. Every day that you treat your body a little bit better, you're going to improve your health. So you have the choice between staying where you are. People think you get to stay where you are, but the truth is the longer you're there, the further back you go, the unhealthier you get. As you age, you are going to get more and more unhealthy, even if you do the same thing and weigh the same amount. So instead, take a couple steps forward, work on your health, even if they're not huge jumps, move your body, eat a little better, treat yourself a little kinder.
That's some great advice. Now, all of this has resulted to you in having to deal with a lot of sagging skin because, of course, you've lost a lot of weight. You've transformed your body. You've transformed your look. Gosh darn, you look like a supermodel right now. You're gorgeous and glowing. Sagging skin, though, is a real problem for many facing extreme weight loss. Now, when significant weight loss occurs, it's then hard for the collagen and elastin fibers to, of course, return to their original pre-weight gain state. And when rapid weight loss occurs, of course, the fibers shrink and contract very quickly. And this is what leads to loose or excess skin. Now, of course, one way to get rid of the excess skin is via very costly plastic surgery. How did you go about addressing your sagging skin in your journey?
I think this conversation is not had often because when you speak to the regular community who's never struggled with loose skin, never struggled with weight loss, they think it is fat loss. They think it's about losing fat. But the truth is, a lot of us who have struggled with our weight our whole lives aren't just rebounding back to getting the elasticity back in our skin. Our skin has been this size and this shape all the way up until this moment in time. So it doesn't have this, it's going to bounce back moment, especially in your mind. You're training and training and training. But what I found in myself and what I find in clients is that once you reach a certain threshold where you're healthy and you're feeling good, if your weight doesn't rebound, sometimes that loose skin can massively contribute to under eating, over restricting, pushing yourself beyond a healthy point so that you can get smaller and smaller, thinking that it is fat. It is usually loose skin. It's important to go speak to a doctor and get that checked out, see what it is, subcutaneous fat. But the other issue around loose skin is that once it's been stretched out, it's like a sponge. So I see with my clients that struggle with eating disorders, struggle with their relationship with food, that they can be in amazing shape and have a piece of pizza or a cheeseburger, and the water hits them and they're up 20, 30 pounds. That's not an easy thing for people to deal with if they already struggle with their relationship with food or with body dysmorphia. So I approached it as I'm in a place where I know this is a sustainable weight that I can keep up. I also know that to push any further would be incredibly detrimental for my mental and emotional health, as well as my physical health. My physical health is at terrible risk if I get any leaner, any smaller. I've worked my way down to bodybuilding show weight tons of times. That loose skin didn't go anywhere. So I had to have a hard conversation with myself about whether moving forward with removing loose skin was actually me getting to see the results that I wanted to see without having to push to this place that could become incredibly dangerous. And the dream is that you don't care. The dream is that you get there and you're just saying, I accept my loose skin. And that's such a beautiful experience, but it's not an experience for a lot of people. And it's a conversation that needs to be had because we need to be normalizing people making judgments for themselves based on what's best for their mental, emotional, and physical well-being and not what everyone else is saying.
Very well said. And it's true. I mean, look, you got to a point where you worked really hard. You got your body to a great place and you were realistic with yourself. And you're not going to go starve yourself and put yourself in harm's way after you've worked so hard to get to that healthy place. So yeah, I totally agree. You have to remove the skin. And of course, my question to you is, was the skin removal surgery painful? And do the results, are they permanent?
So my 2018 tummy tuck was painful. That was because I did have more subcutaneous fat on my body. There was more to remove, but also because I wasn't going into the procedure at bodybuilding show weight. But my last procedure, I'm at 9%. It's basically like moving you're just moving a surface layer versus shifting a bunch of things. And so loose skin removal can be incredibly painful, especially if you choose to go the route of liposuction or any sort of contouring or anything like that. This loose skin removal that I had in 2021, I was in pain for a day and a half. Once my drains came out, zero pain. I'm not negating the impact that going under anesthesia and massive trauma to your body has. That is a long-term side effect that you do need to deal with mentally and emotionally. But when it comes to pain level, it hurt. It hurt like hell. Like I got hit by a car and then I was okay. And the impact that it had on my mental well-being and my relationship with food far outweighed any momentary physical pain that I had. And the results are permanent so long as you sustain your lifestyle and
Of
you
course.
are, yes. And sometimes you see people will gain the weight back, which makes your results not sustainable, or they'll lose a bunch more weight and then you're going to have more loose skin. So it's really about finding a healthy weight that you can sustain and that you like, and then moving forward with the procedure.
Amazing. Well, we are out of time. So lastly, how can people take advantage of your incredible services?
If you head over to my Instagram, my team, we are always posting. All that we want to do is help people change their lives. And this isn't about losing weight. This is about changing your life and making it look exactly like what you want and breaking through the mental barriers that you have around areas that you think you can't succeed in. So if you head to my Instagram, you hop on my stories, you're going to see posts there. You can shoot me a DM, and I promise you that our goal as a team is to make everybody who feels like they're built a little bit different feel like they have a safe space to truly become their greatest selves.
You are amazing. God bless you, my darling. Thank you so much for coming on. You're full of knowledge. You're a breath of fresh air. And I'm so, so proud of how far you've come.
Thank you for having me on. I always love it. I'll be back anytime you need me.
You got it. Guys, you definitely have to check her out. That was our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Dominari Financial. And that was the incredible Laura Mikatesh. She goes by the Iron Giantess all over social media. You could head directly on the gram and check her out at the Iron Giantess. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment. Today we're featuring William and Christian DeMeo, a father-son Hollywood duo, so to speak. William is the creator, producer, and director of Amazon Prime's hit series Gravesend, a 1980s-era mafia drama. Now, fans can get a taste of what's to come in season 2. The current trailer shows an expanded cast that includes Chaz Palminteri, Fran Drescher, Andrew Dice Clay, Armand Asante, Martin Kove, William Forsythe, Sophia Milos, and Mario Cantone. That's just to name a few. Today, he's joined in studio by his son, Christian, who is also an actor and appearing in the series. We'll chat career, Hollywood, season 2 of the series Gravesend, and America's fascination with mafia in pop culture. Now, we've talked about this before. Why, you ask? Well, simply because William's entire career has been centered around playing the mafia or writing about it. So why the obsession? Well, apparently it's not just him. Now, as the era of Prohibition gave way to the Great Depression, the first wave of gangster movies mirrored the growing anger and frustration of many Americans at their worsening economic conditions. From Al Capone and Vito Corleone to John Gotti and Tony Soprano, real-life fictional mafiosos have captured the public's imagination since the 1920s. Welcoming now to the show are my dear friends, William and Christian DeMeo. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, Zen, it's always great to see you, and you look as beautiful as ever.
Thank you, my darling. Now, let's chat Gravesend Season 2. So congratulations on all your amazing success. I hear Gravesend is doing great and audiences love the show. The current trailer has an incredible cast. Tell me, what can we expect in Season 2, and why are gangster mafia dramas infinitely so popular, William?
Well, what we could expect is it's much more broader now. So we were able to enhance, because it was only a little taste in 4 episodes. Now it's 9 episodes, and they're a lot longer. So much more content, and we really capture the whole Brooklyn organized crime time period, what was going on then, and the neighborhood and the feel, and just being on the streets, and just everything about the unity of the people in the neighborhood and how everyone knew each other, and block parties, and just everything, not just about the mob, but the time, which was an incredible time in the 80s, in growing up in Brooklyn, in that neighborhood, which as you mentioned, like there were so many mobsters that actually come from that neighborhood. And to answer your question about the obsession, I think that like there's been a void since The Sopranos. I think it's been a while since people really tapped into this, and people just love the Italian organized crime. It's always, I mean, the greatest actors that we know that come to mind, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, they've done great stuff, but what they're really known for is The Godfather, Goodfellas, Once Upon a Time in America, movies like that were organized crime driven, is what they're mainly known for. And I just think that people just are fascinated with that, and they always will be. I don't think it'll ever end. I think that there'll always be.
I agree.
Well,
And I think one reason, of course, Gravesend is doing so well is because, to your point, the storyline is real and true. And to Italian-filled Brooklyn, it's a big theme, and the mafia really has become the primary pop culture expression of the Italian American identity. And of course, to your point, largely, to enduring influences of Francis Ford Coppola's 1972 Oscar-winning smash hit film, as we know, The Godfather, based on Mario Puzo's novel, and its reinvention really of the gangster movie genre. But I think you capture it really well, and the way that you are bringing the storyline to life. It's incredible. Christian, what was it like working with your dad? And tell me about your character on Gravesend.
I mean, it was a great experience. During the pandemic is when we started writing, and that was just a crazy process in itself. But we were in the house together, and we planned everything, and went over all these characters, and came up with something really special. And just to see where we are now, when everything was written and on a page, and to see it come to life was something really, really special. See these characters be filled by great actors. And I play someone who's a young up-and-coming guy, who's the nephew of the character Mikey the Hat, who's played by the wonderful Leo Rossi, who's been a great mentor, by the way. Can't say enough great things about Leo Rossi. Just this young kid who went through a tremendous heartache at a very young age, without giving the story away too much. He went through tremendous heartache, and is kind of molded by these guys. And you kind of like, what I really like about this character is he's very relatable, because it kind of shows what it's like to go through a tremendous loss. And I had to take my feet and put them in the shoes of someone who's lost a mother due to violence, and to see how, like, you're growing up with that devastation, how it can mold you. And
of course, I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that story. So, finding the truth in that character and bringing it to life, whatever technique you use, Meisner method, I'm sure it was emotionally strenuous. So take my hat off to you for a great job. And I did come visit you on set. You did fantastic. Now,
Thank you.
If we talk about pop culture's fascination with the mafia, of course, it has been undeniably fueled by certain negative stereotypes about Italian Americans, right? Acclaimed works like The Godfather and Goodfellas and The Sopranos. They've also given many Italian Americans an actual sense of shared identity and experience. And despite the controversial nature, the myth of the mafia, as created and nurtured by The Godfather and its many pop culture descendants, continues to enthrall the masses of Italian and non-Italians alike. So people are totally fascinated with the story surrounding Gravesend. Now, William, your first acting career role really was in the 1993 film A Bronx Tale, directed by Robert De Niro. You also played the role of Sammy Gravano in the 2018 film Gotti. Are you still acting, and what is next for you?
Yes, I'm still acting. I have a few things on the table right now, a few projects that we're discussing, but it's been such, because I direct and I write, and it's a whole show. So it's hard to take on other projects because I'm so involved and I'm really like fully in with this, because like I just can't wait for the world to see what they're about to see. Like I'm really thrilled that we finally got to the end, and we have great people involved with us, and CAA as our representation on the show, and great people that are in our corner, and we're ready to really excel and continually do this. So I do have a couple of projects that I'm going to do, but it's a lot.
This is your baby.
It is, and we're bringing more people to the table even for the future, which I'll discuss at a later time. But where this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I love it. Now, Christian, you've worked with some incredible people on this film set. You got to work with Armand and Chaz and Fran. What was that like?
It was amazing. I work very closely with Leo Rossi, and this is actually the first time I'm sharing the screen with my father, which is pretty neat. But it was just really humbling, and it was amazing to work across from such great actors, and very just good people. No one came to set with any agendas. Like, everyone came to play, and it was really special to work with just very well-rounded actors.
Well, when you work with professionals, it makes the job so much easier. And your dad is always surrounded by professionals and great actors. Now, fun fact, Gravesend is in the Bensonhurst section of Brooklyn, and the block, William, that you grew up on was West Street, and I love it, and I always say it in every interview. You use the name of your film company, West Street Productions, which I think is so telling of how connected you really are to your childhood. You definitely, practice what you preach. So I just wanted to throw that out there for our listeners. Now, William, what advice do you have for anyone wanting to get into production?
The advice I could give is to never give up and to always go, and don't ever make a no, like think that you can't do it, because you'll never go anywhere if you wait for Hollywood to open your door, you're going to be waiting a long time. You have to go and make your own projects and go forward and do it. You have to make your break. You have to go, and you can't get discouraged. You have to stay with it and keep going. And if you have haters, it means you're being successful.
Yeah, exactly.
So if people are deterring you, it's terrible to see like what young people go through today. The young generation that tries to step up and tries to sing a song or tries to act or tries to do something, and what they have to deal with, because a lot of people don't accept that and try to knock you down with social media and stuff like that. And I see it all the time, and you can't let that get in your way. You have to keep positivity and go strong and keep going. You have to, because today, especially the way things are, it's hard to things. Everything's watered down now. It's just different. You don't, and when we think about like some of the movies of the 70s and the 80s, like the great films like The Raging Bulls and The Kramer versus Kramers and all those great stories that was so good, you don't see them no more. It's lost. And I think that's what makes Gravesend special, because people want to see those stories. They want to see realistic things that can really happen, and we got away from it. And it's sad, because there was so many brilliant movies. Pope of Greenwich Village. We could go on and on and on. What do you talk about now? I mean, it's not the same. They're not making those type of stories anymore. Just neighborhood and just people and real, true stories that happen. And that's what made The Sopranos so great, because you identified these characters, even though they were in the mob.
Yep.
You identified with Tony Soprano because he had problems and he was seeing a psychiatrist. And, he had
And
problems.
just like the world today, very relatable characters, just like in your film, just like in your series, Gravesend. Now, we have about a minute left, and I wanted to hear lastly from Christian. What was your preparation like, and what drew you to the storyline most? I mean, having grown up alongside your dad's world and now being part of portraying it, that's kind of a lot of pressure.
Well, it was great because me and him got to really sit down and speak about the character in the writing room, and I just took all the time to just properly prepare. And I believe preparation is key. It shows. It definitely shows on screen if you come to a set properly prepared. And I just spoke with him and wanted to bring that vision to life. Him as a director, and I also helped him on set when he because there's a lot. He's on screen a lot. He's the main character. So it was great to just be in the writing room and really understand all these characters, because you as an actor, you should really understand your character's relationship with all the characters in the story.
Yes, it's all one ecosystem. It's all intertwined, of course, part and parcel. It's the bigger picture here. Well, we are out of time. I just want to thank you guys for coming on. I am so excited about season 2. When can we expect this out?
We're going to be making that announcement very soon, but it will be it's coming in July, definitely.
All right. Very excited. We'll be totally directing our listeners to check out Gravesend Season 2. You can definitely find that on Amazon Prime. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in studio. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're the best.
Absolutely. That was our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment. That was William and Christian DeMeo. William, of course, is the creator, producer, and director of Amazon Prime's hit series Gravesend Season 2, out this July. Check them out on the gram at William_DeMeo_, and of course at Christian_DeMeo, and at Gravesend the series. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Nave, a members-only travel portal exclusively available through Organo, offering members steep discounts on nightly or weekly hotel stays, cruises, auto rentals, excursions, and so much more. With its travel getaway portal, Nave makes the days of surfing multiple travel sites and spending hours evaluating the best deals done with. That's because with Nave, you are guaranteed the best prices. Plus, to gain access to an even more expansive collection of condos, hotels, cruises, vacation villas, fantasy getaways, and concierge service, there's Forever Weeks. Simply purchase a Nave Forever Weeks package one time and enjoy the benefits many times. With Forever Weeks, forever means forever. Not only does Nave guarantee you the best prices, but it is also one of the few travel portals that pays a referral bonus, in addition to you earning rewards points, which can be redeemed on the Travel Getaway portal for further discounted hotel room rates. Become a member today and navigate the world of travel. Nave, the world for you to experience. For more information, go to nave.travel. That's nave, Nave.travel.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our influencer segment brought to you by Navi Travel, we're featuring Blaise French, an actor, influencer, and entrepreneur with 3.5 million followers and counting. Now, when he was marketing manager for Body Armor, he scored big. Coca-Cola's buyout for $5.6 billion big, proving Blaise has an amazing track record for successful campaigns. He's partnered with brands such as Milk Bar, Target, Banana Republic, Stance, True Religion, Fashion Nova Men's, that's just to name a few. Today, he joins me to chat all about the power of branding and marketing, how social media has changed the playing field, what cool campaigns he's currently working on. Now, branding is not a specific set of activities, but rather a strategic perspective used to align customer interests and communicate values. Branding encompasses more than just visuals. It's essential for achieving and maintaining a competitive advantage. Branding never remains constant. In fact, it evolves in response to environmental, trend, cultural, technological, and societal changes. And by definition, every business has or should have a distinct brand, a signature bearing label, so to speak. Now, you've probably heard of major campaigns and major companies behind Disney, Facebook, and Amazon. What do all of these companies have in common? Well, the answer is simple. They understand the importance of branding. They weren't always big names in the business world, but they were able to grow into the titans they are today because they understood why branding is important from an early stage. And here to chat marketing, investments, and branding is the amazing Blaise French. Welcome, superstar.
Hey, what's up, Zen? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, let's dive right in. This is your language, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you made the transition from shareholder of the popular sports drink Body Armor to successfully contributing in the company by the Coca-Cola company for $5.6 billion.
Yeah. So I'm just a kid from Queens. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, and I went to Holy Cross High School. And in my high school, there was a guy who created vitamin water, and he sold it for $4.2 billion when I was in high school. So I thought that was amazing. And, networking is a big thing I do. I love talking to anybody in the delis, in the street, and Targets. And I got his number, called him every day. And when I got out of college, he was starting Body Armor, and there was only about 5 or 6 people involved at the time. So I was, in the top 10 of people involved with Body Armor. I got equity in the company, and just built that brand up for 10 years. And then in 2021, we were lucky enough to sell it to Coca-Cola for that $5.6 billion buyout, which was life-changing. So it's been amazing. It's been fun.
Beast! You are a beast. Now, wow, what a story. That's amazing. You gave me chills. Now, through your work with the brand, of course, you have gained connections with some of the world's most influential athletes like James Harden and Floyd Mayweather, the late Kobe Bryant, of course, and a slew of others. What is the secret to creating a strong, authentic brand?
Um, I would say it's like nonstop. Before, when I was growing Body Armor, I used to think like one thing we did would make it explode, and it wouldn't be just one thing. It's a constant, grind, constant marketing, constant awareness building. So it's never ending. And even today, Body Armor is under the Coca-Cola umbrella, but they're still doing things. They're still sponsoring events. They're still getting their face out there. So it's constantly evolving and never settling and being content. So just constantly, striving to keep getting in front of people. So it's nonstop grind, basically.
Nonstop grind. And interestingly enough, Apple is a tech company that wants to appeal to creators. And to do that, it brands itself with creative ads and inspirational marketing campaigns, such as its Think Different campaign. And the net result is that when people think of Apple, they don't just think of a tech company, right? They think of a company that's going to help them bring their creative vision to life. And individuals make purchasing decisions and seek out services based on how they feel. And experts say emotions are key. So construct and modify your brand based on this. I say your brand should have a distinct and trustworthy message, and you really have to keep working at it. Like you said, it's not something that you ever stop at. It's constantly evolving. Now, you are quite the entrepreneur and serial investor. What is your current business focus right now?
Right now, I'm heavily into real estate. I have a project in Jersey City, One Journal Squared. It's with the Kushner Realty Company. And it's a 2-phase high rise. It has 2,000 units. As real estate is amazing. It's a can't lose business, and Jersey City is very hot. So I invested in that, to the whole building. I used to do, single family homes. So now I'm getting into the multifamily homes and the high rises. So doing that, I'm looking to get back into the beverage industry. There's a few beverage companies I'm looking at to get involved in. Saks is a great partner that I'm working with. Aloe is a company out here in California. Talk about branding. Aloe's branding is amazing. It's just 3 letters, black and white, but they know how to brand. They don't partner with anybody. They're very visual. They bring in a lot of influencers, from like Kylie Jenner to Jimmy Butler. to Blaze French. So
To
that's
Blaze French. Don't not forget Blaze French.
yeah. So that's a company I'm super excited about. But yeah, so real estate and just kind of working with the different brands is what I'm most excited about right now.
I love it. And you've made appearances on shows like CBS's The Code and Hulu's Wu-Tang American Saga. You've also landed appearances in Marry Me with Jennifer Lopez and the Netflix series Colin in Black and White. Are you doing any more acting these days, or are you strictly focused on being an entrepreneur?
No, I'm auditioning every day. I'm taking classes. I'm auditioning every day. I have 3 projects coming out this year that I'm super excited about. One is called Plan B. It's a funny movie with Jamie Lee. She's a Emmy award-winning writer from Ted Lasso. Also, Made in America. My uncle Irv Gotti, he wrote and produced his first project. So I got a chance to be in that. And then another one called Family Man that I'm excited about. So just waiting for those projects to drop, and then also just auditioning for new projects every day. So my days are really crazy and hectic, but I wouldn't choose it any other way.
Yeah, but listen, you now have the ability to pick and choose what you're going to do next with your life. I mean, after Body Armor, you really sealed the deal there. I remember reading that you bought a West Coast home in Hollywood, and then I also read that you were eyeing a unit in Brooklyn, and now you're telling me about New Jersey. So I'm really excited that you've now found a passion for real estate investment, because I truly believe that with the market where it's at right now, of course, we all have our core investments, but real estate, it's as safe as it gets. I mean, you can't go wrong with a piece of property.
Not at all. Not at all. And this is not just I woke up one day and thought about this. I've had this plan since a kid. And before Body Armor sold, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I was kind of just waiting for it to sell so I could just go ahead and make these moves. Just moving kind of like a millionaire. I would say, like, people would be like, when you get it, you have to be thinking about it before you even get it. You have to move like that before you get financial freedom, so to speak. So you know exactly what to do. So I've been planning this, and I study the market heavily. Cryptocurrency is something I got involved in, and it's a roller coaster, and you have to be long-winded and not waver, and don't panic. It's one of my strategies. I never panic.
Can't panic. You can't panic. And even like the real estate market, I just purchased something in Brooklyn. I mean, if you look at the past 2 decades, Brooklyn, if you're specifically speaking of Brooklyn and even Jersey City, they've developed and emerged as like super boroughs, an alternative for institutional capital in New York City. And some metrics, they're topping the undefeated borough of Manhattan when you look at Brooklyn and you're coming a little bit off the beaten path. And like to your point, Jersey City, they've become first choice for residents, for businesses, and even investors. Right now, I can speak for Brooklyn. It accounts for about 23% of New York City's land area, and it includes 31% of the city's population, resulting in this densely populated, close to 40,000 residents per square mile. So people are leaving the city. First of all, the investments here in the city are not as competitive as you would find on the outskirts, but I take my hat off to you. That's what you do with money. You invest in real estate, like, for real.
That's dope.
So yeah, it was great chatting with you. I definitely would love to have you back.
Totally. This is amazing. I love the super borough that you speak of, and I got to big up my borough, Queens. I'm from Queens. Queens get the money. That's the saying. It's a pleasure to be from Queens, but that super borough that you speak of is amazing. So it's a pleasure being here with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. It was fun chatting.
Absolutely, Zen.
Got it. That was our influencer segment brought to you by Navi Travel. That was the amazing Blaze French. Definitely check him out on his website. There's a trick to his name. There's 2 F's, blazefrench.com. You can check him out all over the gram at Blaze French. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our disability awareness segment brought to you by ogpay.com, today we're featuring Dave Stevens, the only legless player in sports history to have played NCAA football and minor league baseball. In fact, Dave is a 7-time Emmy-winning sports journalist and motivational speaker. As a television host, he nears 40 years in broadcasting, 20 with ESPN. Dave is a father to 3 teen boys, a professional in residence at Quinnipiac University, and oversees the New Ability Media Initiative at the college, teaching media and production to disabled students in efforts to create job opportunities and careers for them. Dave also puts on sports camps for disabled children across the country. Today, he's here chatting disability awareness, overcoming obstacles, and how your mindset is your most powerful tool. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Dave Stevens. Welcome, superstar.
Wow, after that intro, I thought God himself was coming on your show. So, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, you have accomplished a lot, my dear friend. Now, I'm going to walk the audience through your story as quickly as I can, and then I want you to pick up where I leave off. So, you were born without legs, and from the beginning, really, the odds were stacked against you. Your 15-year-old biological mother had already made the difficult decision to put you up for adoption until Bill and B. Stevens intervened and took you in at the tender age of just 2 years old. The Shriners then provided you with artificial legs, to my understanding, and an opportunity to use your natural charisma. And then you went on traveling over the West, where you were the ideal poster child, entertaining crowds and opening wallets in support of the Crippled Children's Hospital. Tell me what happens after 2 years old and why your mindset mattered so much. Talk about destined for stardom.
Well,
Take
I
it away.
mean, when they pick you at such an early age to be like this, one of Jerry's kids type thing, you don't realize it when you're in the moment, but you're like, hey, I get to go to the San Diego Zoo and I get to do this and be in parades and stuff like that, and just go out as a little tiny kid on artificial legs and crutches and sing a couple of songs, tell a couple of bad jokes, and they would open up their pockets. But more importantly, it gave me opportunities, being poor, being adopted, to kind of realized that there was more out there for me, and I had to make the most of my own opportunities. Back in those days in the 60s, people with disabilities could still be institutionalized. You could be put in a hospital and you'd have no career. But I had 2 loving parents that really supported me through my entire life and didn't know any other thing than to raise me to be who I am and the best I could be. And they instilled in me that there wasn't anything I couldn't do if I worked hard enough to achieve it. So I kind of started that progression, doing things for the Shriners, but then realizing that I wanted to play sports and I wanted to be like every other kid. And I turned that opportunity into everything that I have today because I played sports. And there was no Special Olympics and there was no diversity games or any of those kind of things. I had to play able-bodied sports with no legs, and no one's ever done that. And I was able to achieve success in wrestling and football and baseball. I got to be on a TV show called That's Incredible, which allowed me to get a college football scholarship. I tried with the Dallas Cowboys, playing minor league baseball. I got to pinch hit for all you New York fans. A guy named Darryl Strawberry, I was teammates with, a real big superstar. I got to start at second base in a minor league game with Darryl Strawberry. I pinch hit for Darryl Strawberry in a game. So I'm very blessed and lucky that I've been all these years, 40 years in television. I've never met a microphone that I don't like. I always carry one in front of me. So in case
Yeah.
but it led to having that confidence to do something that most people with disabilities wouldn't do. Not only play sports, which was my dream as a kid to play professional baseball, but my dream, and I said it on That's Incredible before there was cable, there was 4 TV networks, and I said before 30 million people, I wanted to work in network television and replace Howard Cosell, and I've achieved that
And you
and
did.
more.
Now, let's follow the story here. So, I just want to address the audience for people listening. Now, guys, paralysis is dramatically more widespread than previously thought. And now, in Dave's case, we're talking about legless, but in general, there's approximately 1.7% of the US population, or that breaks down to close to 5.5 million people reported they were living with some form of paralysis. So, it's a thing. Now, spinal cord injuries alone cost roughly $41 billion annually. That's a 317% increase from costs estimated in 1998, which were just at about 9 billion. So people living with paralysis are often unable to afford health insurance that adequately covers the complex complications that are commonly linked with conditions. And like many of these living with chronic illness, they're frequently forced to rely on friends or family members to serve as their primary caregivers. Dave, talk to me. How are your efforts paving the way for the disability community, and what is the most important task at hand for you?
I think is, for me, being able to do what I did without anybody's help because there weren't people helping. And I always wanted to give back and help those with disabilities to get a regular job, to have those opportunities in school, to have those opportunities just to drive a car. All the things that everybody, you leggies take for granted, I've had to overcome. There wasn't a book, How to Play Sports for Dummies Without Legs. So I had to evolve. And now what I'm trying to do by working at Quinnipiac University, where we started Ability Media, is trying to give back and give those opportunities to people that want to work in television and media. But I'm also putting on sports camps for disabled kids around the country to give them opportunities to experience that. And to your point, because of the medical costs and things like that, these families are poor. Many of them are not affluent and don't have any opportunities and are looking for, people that can give back or job opportunities or all of the wonderful things that you support as far as what you do, Zen, as far as what you've championed over the years. So, but I think right now, we've taken a back step during COVID. I mean, George Floyd really what was impactful in the world, but that George Floyd moment changed the word of inclusion and diversity. It now means it's part of a different demographic, and the world of the handicap got taken out of there. And so now we've had this back seat for a couple of years where we need opportunities, for jobs, for medical opportunities where we can't afford health care, or if you have a predisposed condition, you can't get insurance. So my life now, despite all the successes, is really geared towards trying to help those overcome it and just get
Beautiful,
opportunities.
so beautiful. And you're right, because on the employment front, we have about 16% of individuals living with paralysis are employed versus 65% who are not living with a disability. And then additionally, the statistics are even more staggering. You have about 42% of those living with paralysis indicated they were unable to work, period. So, as a public speaker and podcaster, Dave, you bring a powerful firsthand perspective to audiences on how to naturally integrate people with disabilities into academic, workplace, and social settings. What steps do you recommend employers take to ensure inclusion in the workforce?
Well, I think employers are afraid. There was a horrible back in the '70s. They always had this phrase, "Hire the handicapped; they're fun to watch." And it's like if you think about it, it is kind of like that because there's always apprehension. I was one of the first disabled people at ESPN, and it's like I didn't know if they were going to judge me on the merits of my of strengths or feel sorry for me or pity me. And I've got Emmys that were given to me, because of my work, not because I was handicapped. And
Right.
I think employers are just afraid. How do I deal with somebody with a disability, seen and unseen? How do I deal with somebody with ADHD? Am I willing to look at other opportunities for somebody on the spectrum who could still contribute? These companies and these corporations, I think, are afraid, but we have minds. We have the ability. Those with paralysis, those with that have overcome an accident. So we have so many people out there. The handicap world is the largest minority in the world with the smallest voice. And so employers really need to take those challenges and look outside the box because why couldn't somebody with a disability work in the military, creating, our technology for, bombs and things like that? You don't need legs. You don't need to carry a backpack. And for a police detective, can you work, dispatch? Could you be in a wheelchair? There's all these things that we don't think about and talk about, giving everybody that opportunity to use what we have in here. There's so many people with gifts that have a handicap a seen and unseen disability, and they're just not getting that opportunity to showcase those gifts.
It's true. And you are so resilient, and resilience is such an important thing in this equation because the way we deal with challenges definitely determines our success. And in life, we experience failures. We make errors in calculation and judgment and get the rug pulled off from our feet as a consequence. Most of us never get up to try again, Dave, but you've been getting up all the time. And being resilient means having the courage to bounce back and take risks despite adversity and initial setbacks. And really, it's the essential key to success. And that is exactly what you have done, my friend. And I'm always going to quote Malcolm X: there's no better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time. And I always say that to people. Now, we have about 2 minutes left in this segment, and I wanted to address your show. You have an incredible new show. Now, granted, you were at ESPN for what, over 20 years as the assignment desk manager, then as a coverage editor. You covered 14 Super Bowls, 3 World Series, 3 NCAA Final Fours, and various other historic sporting events. You were awarded, like you said, 7 national Emmys during your career. Now you've launched your own show. What can we expect from the Geary Stein and Stevens show on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV? Talk to me.
Well, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I always wanted to be on air, and now I get to do things. I work for the Disability Channel as a reporter. I get to cover things. I'm having more fun than when I was at ESPN at age 57. But the Geary Stein and Stevens show is just, they may think it's sports oriented, but I have a lot of connections to celebrities, and we just get them to come on and talk about things and some sports, but I get a lot of I just had Ralph Malph, Donnie Most from Happy Days on. We've got JB Smoove. We get movie stars, singers, those kind of things, and I always try to find obscure things. I do my homework. I try to pull out embarrassing moments of their life that we can share and have a laugh at. With like, oh, by the way, Zen, here is your 8th grade photo, and I'll pull up something like that. But I have a lot of fun with it, and we just have conversations. It's not really X's and O's or any of those kind of things. You can get that from those other channels. I really try to do my homework so I can find out who their inspiration was, who their mentors were, what pulled them out in their lowest areas of life, or what championed them to overcome what they did. So I have so much fun, and yeah, thanks to Kathy and Your Home TV, and now I get to see your show, and it's been a great connection to see the amazing things that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I can't wait to see more of your episodes. I wanted to thank you on for coming. We are out of time, but I love the work that you're doing. I know that you're also involved in tons of charities. Runway of Dreams was one that stood out for me. Initiative for Adaptive Clothing. That was interesting. But you have so much stuff going on. So I'm going to send people to your website. I'm going to thank you for coming on. You are incredible and amazing. And just, I'm honored to have been able to interview you.
Oh, thank you, Zen. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Guys, you definitely have to check out Dave Stevens. Head directly to his website at davestevensspeaks.com. You're going to find a lot of cool stuff there. And remember, being resilient doesn't mean that your problems go away. However, it bestows you with the ability to see beyond the obstacles laying in your way, provides insight for you to see the bigger picture of any situation, and really helps you handle stress better. And as Francis of Assisi said, start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. That was our disability awareness segment brought to you by ogpay.com. That was the awesome Dave Stevens. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iheart.com /A Moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen get uploaded on our YouTube channel by 2 p.m. on Sundays. And you can always find us on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV free programming streaming platform directly on our channel at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.